Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are, whenever you're watching. Thanks for checking out the Sunday Culture Review. Today we have some very special guests. I have on my left, but it's actually on screen right, is our buddy Nickwieser from 32 Flavors of Nickwieser. How's it going, Nick?
It is going good, man. I am very happy to be on here as someone who's usually working at this time, and I'm listening to us at work. It's nice to actually be on here. This is going to be, we got some very fun topics, so Bond is always good for discussion at any given time, whether it's for better or for worse. It always brings up a great conversation. So for that alone, this is going to be worth the time and enjoyment. And hail to the excellent chat, by the way, and hail to you, Culture, for having me come on here and being flexible with the schedule. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And thank you for making yourself available on a Sunday. And as you said, you're normally working, so I appreciate you taking the time to be here, my friend. And of course, next to Nick is the regular partner in crime who's, been spending time with family, but I'm glad AFK Bart is back with us. AFK, how's it going? AFK is AFK. Okay. Immediately
grab your ear if you're being held captive, AFK.
That's right. Yeah. Blink your icon. Below AFK is my good friend, one of the people that I have been streaming with the longest, somebody who I do at least a couple shows with every week. My good friend Wes Moody, the Wes Moody Podcast. Wes, what you got going on, buddy?
Oh, I'm
No problem. Wow, you were severely delayed, AFK.
Okay, so what I've got going on is we have Trekking on Tuesdays. This Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, we'll have our special guest, formerly known as Bulls Trek. He'll be on. And then we have Whatever Wednesdays coming up also at 8 o'clock Pacific time, where we talk about whatever the heck we want to. And so, it's going to be a fantastic show, and Culture Casino may be on one or both of those. So looking forward to...
We'll see how the schedule works out. I try to make them both, but sometimes life gets in the way. And Wes has a great show. His special guest, very special guest. So you do want to tune into the Tuesday. Trekking on Tuesday is going to be exciting. I'm going to say it that way. Because I don't think I'm at liberty to say anything more, and so I'm not going to. But we also have a very special guest here, someone on our channel who's just joining us also for the first time, someone who makes amazing movie trailers, and I get to hang out with once or twice a week. He's working on a current trailer I think everybody's going to love. I can't wait. I'm going to be offering a little more assistance on that here today, but he's been doing so much work on this, and I can't wait for the final product. It's our friend, YetiCast.
Oh, I forgot to unmute myself. Thanks. Oh, yeah. I spent 4 hours yesterday working on a 2-second clip. I'm going into crazy detail here, and I'm so excited once it gets out because I think people are going to really like this one. I don't want to ruin it because I think part of the surprise is going to make it worth it.
Well, I agree with you 1,000%, Yeti, and I'm again. I get to know some things from behind the scenes, and I'm always giddy because everybody's doing some really cool stuff. And then finally, actually, you know what? I'm going to bring AFK back in and say, hey, AFK. And AFK, you want to say hello to everybody?
Can you hear me this time?
Yeah, you're rock and roll. All right.
Yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
I took my dog out and forgot to flip off the Wi-Fi on my phone, and I have a surprisingly long range before it cuts out.
Yeah, it was very surprising, and but you were there, and then you weren't. Then you were there, and then you weren't. So, but it's fine. Thanks for joining us. As I said, it's great having you back. I know you've been doing some family stuff the last few weeks, so it's great to have you back on the panel. So thanks for being here.
Right back at you.
Yeah. Last but not least, the man below, who makes amazing drawings, very talented human being, our very good friend, Machiny and 90. What are you working on, Machiny?
Can I do my obligatory pause for mandatory few seconds?
Of course.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. My name is Machiny 90, artist and illustrator. Welcome you to the Sunday Culture Review for October 10th, 2021. I'm going to get some stuff together today. Today on Machiny Live is going to be a very chill stream. It's going to fill out the last of the round 2 sticker set. I'm very much looking forward to this. But before we move on, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody last night on Sporky News podcast stream with special guest Gary of Nerdrotic. We hit 700 subscribers, so I will be doing a celebration stream next Sunday. I am very happy, guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Well, Machiny, it was a pretty cool stream all around, and the reason I say that is because Scott went over 1,600 subs last night.
Yes, he did.
It was a big night. Gary's presence, of course, makes everything better. But we had some amazing conversations last evening, and I was very grateful to have been included. We've got so much more on the horizon. I'm very happy for all the rogues and all the affiliated rogues and all the people who are part of the comics division fellowship. In fact, our fellowship as a whole is growing by leaps and bounds. Gary said, I think on FNT, and I think reiterated last night, that we're the space that's growing while the other spaces are diminishing is probably a nice way to put it. But yeah. With that being said, and everything obligatory about our introductions being taken care of, and only 7 minutes in, we can say hello to the greatest chat on YouTube. We've got Canadian Spider-Man with us, Lord Thoth, one of the amazing wrenches around the community. We've got One Man Show, big supporter for everyone. Brightest Days hanging out with us. Cody Guy, of course. Darth Haster. We've got Zax. What's up, Zax? Good to see you, buddy. I was able to read your super chat last night, which somebody found for me. We've got Jaffo. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Flipped Out. What is up? Flipped Out of the Fandom Collective, guys. A big reason, one of the big reasons for the growth of our community. The Fandom Collective goes out and supports creators, does amazing works in promotion. No matter what you do, they get behind you. Find out what it takes to become part of the Fandom Collective. Reach out to our friend Flipped Out, or just at them at Fandom Collective on YouTube. On Twitter. And
hail the Fandom Collective.
Hail.
Got Kai MFS joining us. Yeah, it's good to see you. I'm not sure what kind of slang that is, Kai, but thanks, bud. I guess maybe, I don't know. Toxic Man Flu. Still no comment from CultureCasino on Weavegate. I'm going to say it again. It's not a weave.
Exactly.
It is real. I've seen it in real life, and it is just even more amazing in real life than it is.
I touched it on the dump.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. People have touched my hair and then gone on to win jackpots. Ask Jay, Drunk 3PO. Did quite well after touching my hair. Andrew 46 and 2. Hello to you, my friend. We've got, let's see, so many others. Keck is hanging out with us. Shellback's in the chat today saying Nick. Absolutely. Pat S.
Nick has good hair too.
Pat S.
is in real life also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Pat S is here to remind Nickwieser that he's going to promote a show that he is going to be a big show, a multi-channel spanning show during the course of today that I'm kind of excited to be a viewer of. So I'm very pumped. Yeah, that was from earlier. Yeah, you guys are so funny. I love it. Hey, we have our first super chat from the Islington girl, Canadian $5. Says, here's $5 because I approve of Nick's shirt. Thank you for the $5. Islington girl, and thank you, Nick, for wearing the shirt. It's on like Donkey Kong. All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. Nick is making me money already. I'm going to have Nick on more often. Kaylin B. says, hey to Kaylee, another person that promotes everybody in the most spectacular way, a member of the rebellion, and somebody who just plain likes good entertainment and promoting it. So appreciate Kaylee. The K-Dog. Appreciate you very, very much. Toxic Man flew for $5. Says, Nickwieser flavor number 007. James Bond's anticlimactic flavor explosion. Very good. Well, very bad. I wish I had some of the clips that comics does, because that one was good. You know what? Let me see. Is this button working? Let's see. Does that work? Okay. All right, I'll stop this working. There you go. Boomer cast.
I don't know if I like to think of Bond with fruit.
Really?
Nah, he's too like badass, or well, he used to be anyways.
Yeah. Well, we promised we were going to get right into that in just a moment. We got Basco scenario. What's up, Gascar? Hail to you, my friend. I'm glad. Yeah, so far, good Sunday. Mr. Dragon's with us. Six is here promoting people already. Lola meets. Good to see you, Lola. Thanks for being here. Lola promotes a lot of comic creators, a lot. She does a lot of after midnight shows. Our man, Machini, draws down here, gets on that panel quite often. Great promotion for independence. And believe me, that's what we absolutely need. We've got so many other people rolling into the chat. I appreciate you being here. Let's see. We've got... you didn't miss anything, Darth Astor. Well, maybe you did. I don't know. But I'm glad you're here now. Appreciate that. We got one more from Toxic Man Flu for $5. Says, none of us are going faster than Drew. Hashtag beware the Drew. Absolutely. And I like how he is tempering these early on so that I don't get in trouble with the YouTube gods. Thank you for the $5.
We're 12 minutes in.
Yeah, my friend. Yeah, I got to be careful. I usually try to give it 15 minutes before I use any foul language, but you guys are free to do as you please, as long as you keep it within the guidelines. Lord Runner's here. What's up to you, Lord Runner? Jedi Knight Lego Darth Bunny fan, or Nova fan, or I don't even know anymore. It's great to see you, and thank you for the super chat, my friend, and for changing your name. And that's not even a super chat. That just looked like one. That's weird. Okay, that was odd.
But you can only change your name like once every 6 months or something.
Wow, that's crazy. Fine. Smash that like button, says Kaylee D. Absolutely. Hey, look at this. Monkey Jeebus is in the house from Step Brothers. There you go. Low Spec Linux Laptops is in the house. Ironcaster is joining us today. We have, let's see, man, another one. Thank you, the Loose Joystick for $5. Says, Hail Culture, here's to a good week. Remember, be gentle with your joysticks. That's a great tip. Thank you, the Loose Joystick. You guys should check out the Loose Joystick channel here on YouTube. A couple of great pieces of content recently will make you laugh. Wes is getting out.
I polished off the GameCube controller. There will be an attempted Metroid Prime stream at some point.
Ooh, I'm excited.
What about Metroid Dread though, Wes?
I want to say thank you, the Islington girl, for bringing up this very important thing. Happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian friends, because today is your Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow. Does that mean tomorrow is Boxing Day? I think that's a Canadian thing.
No, that's after Christmas.
Shucks.
Yeah.
Well, go Canada, go! Woohoo!
There you go, Lady Tariel. Greetings, Lady Tariel. Lady Tariel is one of the best of us. She says hello to everyone. Hello to you, Lady Tariel. Severon is here. What's up, Severon? Good to see you, buddy. My goodness. Apparently, Tox hit the lottery, says, for 5 more American dollars. Drew has a large person impregnation appendage. How's that, Culture? I think that was very deftly worded, my friend. Very balanced. Talking about, and you didn't even mention the girth of his tumescence. So there you are. That's another way to do that. You are not promoting people too soon. You can definitely do your very best, Six, at doing that. It's perfectly fine. Sander Hammerslag is joining us today. Good to see you, Sander. Love it. Yeah, Metroid Dread incoming. Incoming is the question, Wes. Is that what you're doing? Metroid Dread?
Metroid Prime, yeah, the original.
Oh, Prime. Okay, not
Dread. You're not doing the new one? Okay.
There's a new one?
Yeah, there's a new one.
It's on the Switch.
Oh, well, that means I'm going to have to buy a Switch. Jeez, come on, guys.
Well, yeah, you can just spend money, dude. Spend money. Michael Hickson says, hail, hail, hail. Happy Sunday, folks. Happy Sunday to you, my friend. This is a good question. Do they have maple poutine on Canadian Thanksgiving? Don't know. Don't know. But I do know this. We've got a lot of subjects to cover, so let's dive into what I consider the softest ball of all. Black Widow is streaming for free on Disney Plus now. So, if you didn't want to give them $30 or go to a theater, you can, if you have Disney Plus or a friend or family member that has Disney Plus, you can now watch it for free and feel the same disappointment as the people who watched it. Guys, I don't know. This story is interesting. They actually have their version of Prime Day on Disney Plus, that where everything, and either this is coming or it's past. And to be honest with you, I didn't care. But where you're going to basically allow you to see everything. I think even the Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, I think, was part of the lineup that they were going to offer for that one day or whatever. So, but Black Widow is finally coming to streaming on Disney Plus, a sequel to Captain America: Civil War. I don't know how it's that, and a prequel to Avengers: Infinity War. I don't agree with either of those statements. Part spy movie, part thriller movie. Black Widow sees Natasha reunite with her sister Yelena Belova. So it just goes into talking about it, but it's original. Because of its original release date shift, they went ahead and did a simultaneous release on Disney Plus through Premier Access. It broke obviously several, and they note this global crisis box office records with an impressive 379 million worldwide. Well, that's going to pale in comparison to some recent films, but I leave it with you all to discuss. Do you care?
No. And
Nope.
that's the part that I'll admit, for me, this is a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, because even though I have been checked out of the MCU show stuff, with how bad a lot of the content's been, I love the Black Widow comic book character. I love a lot of the comic book runs, and she was also awesome in a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s Daredevil comics as well. So for me to want a movie on Black Widow to be awesome, I wanted it to succeed, just because I think she's probably one of the best Marvel characters in the company, period. And seeing this movie, she was a supporting character in her own movie, and on top of it, they butchered the hell out of Taskmaster in almost every way possible. You had a middle scene that dragged so much. I'm going to try to actually not swear, but it dragged. It just was purely boring. It was just man, when will this end? And then the reveal, which everyone saw coming, was so poorly done. The only people who seem to really enjoy the movie are normies, who are, I guess you could say, are just shut up and consume type of normies. But anyone who's actually put some thought into this has realized this is not great. And it's not just because I'm a guy. It's because critical thinking's a real thing. And this movie I really like probably the first third of it at best, because it got the ground running. And
yeah, it started strong.
Yeah, it starts strong. I'll give credit where it's due, but what's his name? Who's the dad? He started off as this awesome dad, and then all of a sudden he became a bumbling buffoon, moronic douchetarian when he got out of jail.
They can't have the strong male figures on screen anymore.
Yeah, well, I just watched. I'm oh man, dude, your IQ is officially lower than my shoe size. Seriously, this is where we're at now with you.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but in all Marvel movies, they will never have any of the male heroes land a hit against the female heroes, which just seems insane because they're superheroes. They're supposed to be fighting on an even playing field.
Yes, but helping each other.
Yeah, but if you notice, none of the movies have that. So you could just predict what the Taskmaster was going to turn out to be just from the sheer fact that he couldn't land a single punch through the entire movie.
Yeah.
Everyone else could. Not him, though.
So far, there's 2 votes for I don't care, and you probably you don't think other people are. So here is, I guess, the pertinent question. I didn't ask it properly. The actual question at hand is: will the fact that it's free increase the subscribers over at Disney Plus? I'm just curious.
No. Yeah.
It was a very bad movie.
Way.
No.
It was a bad movie. I think in my review, I likened it to kind of those old B movies that you used to see on network the independent television stations on a Sunday afternoon. It was not very good. It was really bad.
Now, I've heard mixed reviews, and I love to hear all perspectives. Did anybody end up with a favorable view of the Black Widow film? I'm just curious, and it's okay. I mean,
I wouldn't say that it's favorable, but on my hierarchy of like how I rate like Marvel movies, I stuck at like probably just like an inch underneath Ant-Man as far as just like it was a movie, it had action in it. You can find stuff in it you like, but it doesn't like have like a solid plot. I'm sorry for Ant-Man fans. I love the characters, but I didn't think the plot was that good. And it's the same for like Black Widow too. So like I wasn't like angry at it. I was just disappointed.
Right.
Yeah,
So
disappointed is a good word for it. Just the dialogue was so cringe-inducing. Budapest, 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 Budapest. Like, why are you taking me out of the movie to pronounce Budapest or Budapest? It was just
yeah.
It could have been saved too.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, they'd already said this word in the first Avengers team up film. It's not like the audience needed to be educated on it all over again. But AFK, I'm going to ask the question again. Do you think this is going to increase Disney subscriber numbers? I don't.
Not at all. Not at all. I like it. This is not the type of movie where it was like a big game changing story. This is a movie that's set in between two movies. One off a character who's already dead. So we already had our final story, so you took away the stakes. This is not a movie where you gain some. Now, if you made this argument for like, per se, let's just say Guardians of the Galaxy #1 never came out, and it was 2021. If that movie came out on Disney Plus, that would gain subscribers. I'd say, okay, that movie was big because it was Marvel in space. They had well-executed characters, comedy, etc. Black Widow is just the next thing to pass the time. This is not something that was like people are going to talk about for years to come. People at least will remember the Guardians movie. The Black Widow movie was just a moment in time that will be forgotten. It's not the type of thing that will get people to talk about, like, this is why I need to have Disney Plus so I can watch this movie. Like, you have a better chance of someone going back and rewatching The World According to Jeff Goldblum on the National Geographic session. Because that stands out. Black Widow is just another thing that blends in the sea of all the Marvel stuff. At least something like Jeff Goldblum, that show stands out. This doesn't stand out at all, and it should have. A Black Widow movie should have stood out because it's a more grounded character who survives on being a human, and with the whole spy thing going on, they had all the right variables, the right ingredients to make it stand out, and they did not deliver in any way to make it a product to deliver. And once again, how I feel about the movie is neither here nor there. It's about what it could have done to make people want to have a Disney Plus account, and it's not.
It came out a decade too late.
It came out, yeah. It did. You're right, Yeti. It did come out a decade too late. Like this would have come out many years ago, and with
after
actual
Civil
stakes.
War.
Actual stakes.
Well,
it did take place after Civil War, but
but that's when it should have been released, right then.
I disagree, Yeti. I don't think it should have been released after Civil War. I think it should have been released. Honestly, after Winter Soldier and before Age of Ultron.
Ooh.
Or if
that would have worked too. Yeah.
After Age of Ultron to replace that Ant-Man slot.
I concur with that because there's that throwback line in Age of Ultron where like
it's the whole scene. It's the whole Red Room scene in Age of Ultron.
Right. So like right after that would have been the perfect time and they dropped that ball. But I don't know. As far as like what I would think as far as the getting subscribers, I would just say in general, if there aren't Marvel fans already subscribed for the fact that there's a lot of Marvel stuff on there and they didn't like go to the theater to see it just out of curiosity, I don't feel like it's going to just get any random person to subscribe just to watch this one movie.
Yeah.
But that like I would say that for a lot of like the stuff that's coming out of Marvel nowadays.
Right.
It's like if you aren't a fan of it, you're not subscribed, and if you don't understand it, you're not going to subscribe just to see a movie either. At least that's my opinion.
I mean, look, if this exact movie had come out 10 years ago, it still would have sucked because it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in addition,
that's true.
In addition to Budapest, you know, and the other weird stuff that was going on, just like, you know, when they rescued their father, you know, their father figure from the prison, just like the weird getting the guts ripped out, you know, I don't have a uterus, you know, you know, what's going on here?
I'm going to make an
wasted
argument
the Red Room.
for Ant-Man, and here's why I feel like Ant-Man would have done better if it was a straight to Disney Plus or a several weeks after theatrical release, because Ant-Man 1 actually had stakes. Whether you like the movie or don't is not relevant. It's about, one, you're introducing a character whose story in the big picture would become very vital to other movies, obviously with the quantum realm, also a passing of the mantle at the time that had never happened in the MCU. So you had some first going on. So you actually had some new ground to cover to some degree. Obviously the comedy had already been done, but you also actually had a dad trying to redeem himself too. So you had a lot of quality elements that made Ant-Man stand out in terms of, okay, I want to check out this Ant-Man thing. I'm going to subscribe to Disney Plus and see what's out. There's at least things that stand out about it. There's nothing to promote off of Black Widow that says I'm going to subscribe to Disney Plus. Once again, it's not about whether you like the movie or not. There's at least Ant-Man had some different ingredients to add to the mix to say, hey, this is why you should check this movie out. I couldn't even say that about Black Widow because everything we had seen.
I would agree to you. Go ahead, AFK. Sorry.
I was just going to ask for a clarification on the subscribing part, because I was just thinking there probably would be a large number of people creating accounts just for free service, just to like watch it. So, and I don't think of that when it comes to subscribing, because I think there are people who do that all the time.
Right. But see, this is the difference, is because of the Premier Access, right? You had subscribers who were there that were paying $10 a month or whatever it was at the time, and then they were asked to pay an additional $30 to see the film. And now that it's free, is it going to drive customers? And here's what I'm going to say is, they've already told us they don't expect it will, because they're saying that we're going to see subscriber growth in the next quarter down to single digits as far as in the millions. They have also seen massive levels of churn in the North American market. So the question is really important. Is this the thing that's going to drive up membership? And I believe they already gave you the answer, which is
apologizing to Gina Carano might drive up numbers.
No, to answer your question, Culture, no, it won't. And to answer Nick's question, I agree to an extent.
Okay.
The first Ant-Man would, if it was released on Disney Plus, I think it would have definitely had a better. I do agree on that. I think it would have been definitely been a seller on Disney Plus if it was released at that time. But I still think that Ant-Man, I really did enjoy in the theaters and watching it a second time.
Okay.
However,
the original one, not the Ant-Man and Wasp.
Ant-Man the Wasp, definitely Disney Plus.
No.
Ant-Man the Wasp is definitely a Disney Plus,
right?
Without a doubt. And just because
kind of liked Ant-Man and Wasp,
I did too. It doesn't have that comedic tone. And it doesn't have that kind of that formula that made the first one work really well.
Yeah. I just want to latch on onto what Yeti Cast said, and that is, if Disney apologized to Gina Carano, I think it's way too little, way too late. I think
too late on that one.
Yeah, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, it's really hard to put it back in, and I don't think that an apology is anything.
But at least it would be something. It would be more enticing than this movie. That's all I'm saying.
But
okay, I'll give you that.
Regardless, no. Let's get back to our thing. This is not going to help with the subscriber numbers. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's really not. That's not even up for debate. I mean, obviously, we're a few people in different colonies and different countries of the world. Maybe 5 people. In terms of substantiality, there's not going to be a major growth because of this movie, because there's nothing here to offer that you haven't seen. There's nothing that stands out about it. So it's not going to have a big growth, because I would actually. I mean, once again, doesn't matter how you feel, The Mandalorian at least had something to offer people because of Grogu. So that was an element. Whether you liked it or not, it brought people's attention. Now, obviously, it shifted away because of the whole Gina situation. But it's about having something that's saying, this is why you need this account and you should skip the other ones. There's nothing there for Black Widow. There's nothing there.
Well, there's nothing there for any of the Marvel movies at this point. Like, it's a copy and paste, just with a little different shine.
Yeah,
it's all the same story.
Well, I would extend on to that, Yeti Cast. I'm not just saying the current slate of the MCU films as we're going into Phase 4, but let's not forget the the shows. Let's not forget Loki, Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision. There's just, in my opinion, there was anticipation for WandaVision.
Yes.
That was the first one of the lot, and there was a lot of like mystery box stuff going on.
Right.
But when you get after that, when you get to Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's just not that much interest. And there was even, and I'm probably going to be wrong on saying this, and I think there was even less interest when you get into Loki and Marvel's What If. Like, is there even interest in Marvel's What If at this point?
Well, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Those things are so predictable at this point. Yeah. Like the shows, it's okay. So we know like the old white man's the bad guy, and then everybody's going to get saved by the strong, powerful woman that's, kind of sassy, a little mean. This is all going to happen. They're going to
they've created their own tropes, in other words, right?
They've created their own tropes, and they are doing. I saw this coming a mile away. They're doing a lot of irreparable damage to the MCU continuity with these shows.
Oh God,
and I think that, I think that might be one of the reasons that there's not much interest, because people are so used to the MCU. People who probably watched it from the first Iron Man onward, they're probably not interested in seeing how this breaks continuity. This breaks that, unless you're an MCU stan.
Well, they're not interested in the deconstruction of these heroes, and that's actually ultimately what Disney's now going to have to learn to come to grips with. But I'm going to interrupt real quick because we have a member chat that I don't want to let get away, because Zach's is in the audience right now. Zach's a member for 6 months, and for a couple months here at the gold member level, says, "Happy Thanksgiving to my maple syrup drinking, bacon eating, a boot saying, hockey playing fellow Canucks."
And just to touch on that, because Zax is one of the best supporters out there, and I've been talking to him. He's looking to make a video on this exact subject, going over how they're messing with continuity and how they're just making it a mess. So make sure that you give him support and tell him to get that stuff out, because he's hilarious and he should be making YouTube videos.
Agree.
Yes.
Yes, and I just want to say also that Zax, I would love to see the maple eating Thanksgiving video as well. So,
very cool. I do want to say that we need to encourage everybody who has a voice and isn't using it yet to do so, because that's how we grow. Believe it or not, the more we spread across the world, the better things will get. Rebecca Gold, our very good friend Ian, the Mega Geek, is hanging out with us in the chat for £5, which is real money, kids. Says, "Hey, hi all. Good to see you, Culture. Good to see you, my friend. Glad to see Finn back. I'd just like to say the new Bond film sucks." Well, hey, you know what, Ian? We're about ready to dive into that. So very excited indeed. Guys, check out the Rebecca YouTube channel. It is a web series. It's a short web series, totally worth your time. Shows you how you can
too.
Say again, AFK?
He's also got some short films there that you should check out.
That's amazing. He is absolutely.
Yeah, he does incredible stuff. He is a real legitimate writer, director, producer, etc. So great human being. Lots of other people dropped in, including your Muslim uncle, our good friend Tom from Midnight's Edge, Midnight's Edge After Dark, Midnight's Edge Archive, Midnight's Edge Espanol, Midnight's Edge. I don't even know. There's like a billion. Mead Radio. That's right.
Yeah, Mead Radio.
There's more Midnight's Edge than there are
32 flavors of Midnight's Edge, Midnight's Edge cast.
Flavors of
Midnight's Edge West, Midnight's Edge webcast, Midnight's Edge 90. Yeah, there's a lot.
You can boil it, braise it.
Yeah.
So, he's the sponsor of all of our streams.
Midnight's Edge.
So many folks have joined us in the chat. I really appreciate all of you showing up. Like I said, the first subject was the softball. I think we need to get into the next one here real quick, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to make sure I didn't miss anything significant in the chat. You guys were killing it.
You actually did.
Budapest comments and everything else.
Tina.
Oh, okay, I'll get that.
Midnight's Edge Gumbo.
Midnight's Edge Gumbo? Where'd that come from?
Yeah,
I'm hungry. Gumbo? Don't make me hungry.
That's all Zach's fault for bringing up food. Thanks, Zach.
That's what Jane Theory. Midnight's Edge Gumbo.
Yeah. I guess I missed one. So
yeah, from Tina Bojan.
Is it a member chat?
Yeah, it's a member chat. Yep.
And you know what, Tina, this is the cool thing, and this is why I love everybody in our fellowship. Tina, who's been a member for 11 months, huge supporter. I really appreciate you. Tina says, I still love Loki. Absolutely.
Love you, Tina.
You got two big hearts behind
Hi,
that.
Tina.
And you know what?
Tina.
I'm like you said, I don't want to yuck your yum. We can disagree. I mean, if that's your jam, it's cool. I mean, a lot of people have enjoyed Loki. I just think it is. I think it's got a lot of stuff in it that further degrades the way the heroes were originally written. And and that was the whole point of destroying comics, is to change the way these characters were written and write derivatives that were very poor facsimiles of the original. And boy, did they succeed! So much so that the comic industry is on the greatest collapse in its history, at an accelerated rate that was hastened along by the global crisis. But they weren't in a good place to begin with. They were already on the tipping point. So the global crisis just made it more evident to everyone else. So, but it is what it is. Let's see. Hasn't been experiencing churn, and Disney. Actually, this is the thing. Jaffo brings us out, and it's one of the things that kind of was driving it. Churn for Disney Plus has been high, and we knew it was going to be high starting in August because of the way they offered their bundled deals. A lot of their telecom deals are expiring or shifting or changing. They had a price increase, and yet their ARPU number is going to continue to go down. It'll be.
Doesn't that happen with Netflix as well?
Netflix has had significant churn, but they are a lot more stable than Disney is right now. All of Disney's growth right now isn't from domestic growth in the U.S., Canada, North America.
It's India, right?
Yeah, it's coming from areas where they can't sell the service for as much as they get everywhere else. Delivery costs are higher and revenue is lower. So it drives ARPU down, which means it's less profitable, which means I'm going to point to the fact that they're not going to hit their profitability date for any of their streaming services that they gave the investors to begin with, especially if they're reporting that growth is slowing, and that's across those international markets. They aren't bringing things to customers that people want to watch. But one or two shows isn't going to keep somebody on a streaming service.
No, it's
I
not.
believe they have more subscribers in India than North America, but they make substantially less money.
Yep.
Substantially. And it's not a small number that's subscribed, like just from India alone, let alone the rest of the world. It's a massive number, but they're not getting anything from it.
That's true. And Zach makes a good point here. Let's be honest. We could stream Black Widow for free from the very beginning. A lot of people did. Mm-hmm. And again, you will pay for something that you find value in. You won't. A lot of people won't pay for something they don't. So there you are. And this is a good suggestion. Here it is. Monkey Jeebus says they should give her a producer title to get her back in top actor money. I still don't think she's got principles, man. And that's rare in this world. Mm-hmm. But, I don't think they'll ever get her back. But we also had Judicon join us. Disease is in the house. Obviously, our friend Parrot Head is here. Parrot folks joined us while we were in the first subject, which usually happens. But we're and there, of course, our buddy Bruce. Bruce, I hope you're getting back to 100% health, my
Bruce.
friend. Really do. But what was
Bruce?
Bruce Leon as my man.
Time Bandits is an amazing film. Can't make that today though. Disney didn't help themselves with the bad PR with the fan base of Marvel or Star Wars. A substantial portion is working against them instead of promoting the IPs. Yeah, that's us. Although I wouldn't say we're working against them.
I just want it to be good. I would be happy if the politics leave and we just have good, solid stories with characters that overcome difficulties and learn something.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately we're not getting that, and that's why I rightly dipped right at it. The reason I dipped out of AIM, I probably brought this up before, but the reason I dipped out of Endgame was because me and Nick Weiser, who we follow the comic stuff.
Yep.
I saw this coming from a mile away, that we're going to get the 2017 all new, all different Marvel incorporated into the MCU.
It's already happening.
And if you've been following that, if you've been following a lot of the characters that come from that era, the stories just haven't been good, and it's just been focused too heavily on identity politics and such.
I'm pretty sure that's why they're going into the multiverse, so they can totally replace the old characters with someone new that would fit exactly into that all new.
All different, yeah.
Right,
I'm gonna
because,
bounce back off of Makini's comment, and I gotta say it's because Makini and I have discussed this before, and let's just say, like, when they did all new, all different Marvel, they were setting the stage for what was to become of the MCU at the time. I didn't know that, obviously. I just saw as, hey, here's a bunch of bad books. But now now that you see this happening, now they're gonna respect the source material. They created these characters just so they could say, this happened in the books. That's why this is being done. Now we can't use the argument that this is not faithful, because it is faithful to the book in the sense that it happened. Whether it's good or not is obviously a whole different subject for another day. But they're doing it so we can't use that argument. And now here we are dealing with that.
Those who have been...
For that reason, one, and the other reason being in case they lose the copyright battle for the return of copyright to the creators.
Yep.
And and that way they can use these derivative characters as co-creators. But again, I don't think they're going to let it get to that thing. I've had this conversation in multiple places, but there's a lot of reasons for changing these characters. They do such a poor job imitating the better character with the thing they create, because every time they do, they create something that's a Mary Sue or Gary Sue or whatever. And Bruce is right here. He says nobody in Disney wants to have a series of films that showcase the amazing storytelling of Walter Simonson's Thor. The Thor storylines are superior to anything that Marvel has today, and that's 100% true.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's what I'm saying, because like, if you're like me, who've been seeing what's going on in the comic side ever since like 2017 or so, ever since 2016, that you know that we were going to get Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, you know that we were going to get Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, you know we were going to get America Chavez, you know that we were going to get Riri Williams, Ironheart into the MCU. It was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, haven't there been rumblings that Marvel Comics is either going to be sold off or just closed? Like they're struggling.
They won't.
I doubt it.
Yeah, they won't. I mean, as long as they're under Disney's umbrella, that's the thing. This
is from Disney themselves, because it doesn't do anything for them.
Well,
go ahead, Makini.
Well, it's just I doubt it, but it's just like, you saw this coming, and then I'm seeing the signs. I saw the signs, and even the bigger signs is how are they going to incorporate the most popular superhero team of all time, the X-Men.
Yeah.
And not call them the X-Men.
That's going to be a slippery slope, and it is going to be I just see it as a mess and a half. That incorporation of the X-Men into the MCU is going to be a mess and a half, because there's too many, and I repeat, too many like identity politics behind that.
Yeah, they want to get rid of the X-Men name with them.
Yes,
they said the mutants or something.
Yes, they did. And yet
you have Victoria Alonso, who coined that, getting a more executive position for the MCU.
Yes.
Well, that just happened, and I know a lot of people are freaking out about it, but she's always been driven by some really bad ideas. And everybody right now in positions of authority have been, which is how we ended up where we are. And James Villanueva mentioned something that I know is probably likely and also true. Star Wars, Marvel, and DC make garbage stories that don't match continuity, because the last thing they want to do is give credit and residuals to writers that came before them. Here's the weird thing. Right now, the Screenwriters Guild, yes, they are actually negotiating, giving credit to people who actually contributed prior across the board. I think giving them credits in film and television production for characters that they created, or get credit for the originals that they've made derivatives of. So there's a lot going on in the background there. And as far as the question in the chat about our friend Nina had other obligations that came up that she had to take care of this morning. So that's why we are sans Nina and plus a Yeti cast. So I think that was a pretty good exchange. And we may end up with another surprise guest here shortly. We'll see. Like I said, I mean, I've got, a lot of folks that, hey, what's up, Larry, there? A lot of folks that would agree that the Disney Plus experiment so far hasn't panned out well for any of these new series. WandaVision ended badly. Falcon Cap was complete garbage, as I was trying to warn everybody it was going.
I want to say with WandaVision probably out of all the Disney Plus shows, WandaVision had the most intrigue and the most potential, and I think that was squandered. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just spiraled so fast, and then you just caught a glimpse of, oh yeah, this is 100% where they're gonna go. Like they removed Doctor Strange because they don't want to have a man, help a woman to like teach her, which is just a ridiculous thing because you always have teachers. It doesn't matter their gender if they're just good at what they do. But this type of identity politics is being shoved into all these properties, and it's so predictable. Like I just don't care about any of the shows.
No, Yeti, I'm glad you mentioned that because it's funny because not was it was just a rumor for show. Benedict Cumberbatch had signed on to be on the show. Like he was all in and ready, and they went out of their way to write him out of the script. So they changed a lot of what was supposed to happen just to please this identity politics demographic.
I believe they even digitally removed him because he was originally there. And I think there were some YouTubers that did digging and did some like close-ups of the final shots. And you can see kind of the cape flapping.
Yeah.
So
I'll have to look at that.
And here's where Ironcaster is exactly right. This is on fire. If you had a chance to watch that, Umbrella Guys a few days ago came out with the thing about IDW and other comics that are
right,
especially IDW that's losing their pants right now. Disney just pulled their licenses from IDW, which was the main company Disney was shoveling their properties out to make for making comics. The problem with IDW is that they lose money. They've been losing money at an accelerated rate, and they had a write-off of a PPP loan that made it so that it looked like they lost less money when, in fact, in this most recent quarter, year over year, they lost more. But
and they keep hiring back the same people that cause them to lose money. Their CEO.
And Tug said exactly that in his video, Yeti Cast. He said,
well, and that's the thing is that IDW has been losing so much money financial over the years, so much so that with the new president or editor-in-chief as such, they're now pushing to support independent creators now. So it seems like they want to do kind of their own version of like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo, or just get more smaller, more independent creators on their titles.
It won't change anything if they keep hiring the same type of person.
Yeah,
even if it's a small creator.
You're
have to get
right,
people
Yeti.
outside. Yeah.
They need to get actual comic writers, not diversity hires who happen to look like a character, aka look at you, Evie Wing. They gotta get people who actually want to write books, whether it's stepping into an already created IP or creating a new idea from the ground up. Because these Heather Rantoses of the world aren't going to make books. They don't know how to edit. They have no sense of leadership. They have no backbone per se. And IDW, even The Last Ronin, as much as I've enjoyed that book, praise that book like there's no tomorrow. One book is not going to save the company, even though that book is selling very, very, very well. Like it's selling better than most big two books. But the thing is, it's one book, so they'll get that one issue out, and they're gonna have some serious trouble after that last issue comes out. They're gonna have some problems.
They're in a world of hurt, and there's no denying
right now. Yeah.
Two things real quick. First, this super chat is Commander Ed Straker of Shadow for $5. Thank you for that. Wow, just saw Gary's review of James Bond. Kill me now. What trash. Sad. I'm glad he saved me the cash going to a Jeremy Filthy SoCal Theater. Absolutely, Commander Ed Straker of Shadow. And that's kind of why some of us suffer through some of these projects, is so that we save thousands of people, or tens of thousands, or in Gary's case, hundreds of thousands of people from wasting their time. But we were going to talk about Bond, and so it's apropos I brought in another guest, our friend Ian.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, Ian.
Ian.
How you
How's
doing?
it going?
I did
Oh,
a very weak job of promoting you, my friend. Why
That's okay.
don't you tell people what you do?
Well, I'm a filmmaker. That's all you need to know, really.
All right.
But we're going to talk about Bond. I'm
We are.
there. I'll let you know what I think
We
as well.
are. He's a bit humble, guys, but he's British, so they're.
There you go.
They're like,
You know, just before we move on,
Hi, Finn.
yeah. Go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead.
well,
Eddie.
I just want to say it would be so easy for them to turn this around. Like, you go out, you hire guys again like Ethan Van Sciver or Graham Nolan, John Malin. You hire these guys to start writing books and putting out, their amazing art, and people will come back. It's not like comic fans are gone. They just don't want to buy the bad products and the bad drawings. They've migrated to places like Indiegogo
and manga.
Manga.
Oh yeah,
webtoons.
and manga. Yeah,
webtoons.
Like, you could fix this though. All you have to do is get in those people.
Well, we are fixing it. We're just doing it a different way.
Yes, I agree with you.
We're going independent, and that's. Let me get these other super chats because I want to. We have to change subjects, so
Right.
And I don't want to because this has been an amazing conversation, but we're almost an hour in, so I love it. I thought that was going to be like 5-minute conversation. I was so wrong. Glitter for $5 says it's popular to remake movies from the 70s and 80s. Too bad Hollywood won't focus on that same era for comic book adaptations. Man, if they did, that would rock the box. Talk about some of the amazing comic runs during those years. I mean, seriously, I remember. Orville Nation sent us a $5
Hey,
super.
PJ.
What's up, PJ? He's doing the weights. Our friend Katie went to the television Emmys last night. Came close, but didn't win. She had 2 nominations. But I think we should all be very proud of her. She's part of our fellowship. One of the most positive human beings in the world. So, and if you don't know who I'm talking about, I'm sure you can find mention of her anywhere in PJ's timeline or even mine. Words of encouragement for last evening's nomination. So she is somebody special, and we are very thankful that she hangs out with the all of us. And then finally, the last one that I've got here is from our good friend Larry. A name so great you have to say it twice. For $2, says checklist writers are hired all the time. Same poo. Yes, definitely. Same poo emoji, my friend. And it happens constantly, consistently across all industries now. It's any and everywhere in entertainment. But we are going to move along, and you guys are absolutely the best. Michael Hickson. Economics and comics is never a shake convo, but it's always that's true. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I appreciate people like that Umbrella Guy, Yellow Flash, and so many others, that they give you that background. They go in depth on the financials on that side. And while I can certainly do that, it's not going to be in my expertise. I'll talk to you about the film and television stuff. I'm going to let them do the other things because they do a great job. So there you are. Many other people do that as well in the same space. And of course, Ethan has his opinions that he shares all the time with a great group of comic creators. And I'm grateful to the independents, and I think we all should be as well. But with that being said, we're going to jump into the next article, which is No Time to Die.
No time to die.
No time.
You have to get rid of the no in the title.
Okay, time to die.
Spoiler alerts, kids. There probably will be spoilers dropped here. I know there were spoilers dropped in a bunch of reviews, and the problem is these spoilers were out before the film nearly 2 years ago. Bad news for the film from the beginning, and as people start to hear that all these things are confirmed, they are less interested in seeing one of their favorite characters be portrayed in a particular way. Now, I'm going to let the person with the appropriate voice read the article if he would so choose to, and that would be Ian, the Mega Geek.
What article? This one? No Time to Die?
Yeah, read this.
Daniel Craig's final Bond film opens to, was it 56 million at domestic box office? Sunday update.
That's right.
I'm not going to read. What, you want me to read all this? I can't read all this.
No, it's fine. I'll take care of it.
I can read it.
I can read it.
I can read.
Beautiful accent because
I can read it.
I can try and read it in Ian's accent.
That's right. Yeah, feel free Ian, to cut me off. To give some feedback. So here we go.
Okay.
Sunday morning, when it comes to Bond and the box office, the world is not enough, and the bigger exclamation, as we first told you earlier this week, was going to be in No Time to Die's global figure, which is coming in at 145.5 million, very close to 150 million we reported. Comprised of its opening weekend domestic and second weekend abroad, we've heard there's great holds throughout Europe and with even bigger riches ahead in China when the Cary Fukunaga film lands there. Well, it's going to land there soon, so we'll see. All in right now for MGM, United Artists, Universal, Eon title, that's a lot of distributors, is 313.3 million. That's a global number, so to me that's not as impressive as they want to make it sound. But however, domestic came in at the lower end of expectations with $56 million start. Yeah, that was very disappointing, especially for me who thought it would even be higher than the tracking. Saturday was steeper than initially figured yesterday with 18.1 million, which is down 22%. Tracking in UAR always expected No Time to Die to open between 55 and 60, and somehow the greater PR narrative of the film seemed to position the 25th Bond film as though it was going to play like a Marvel movie. Well, guess what? You were one of those people that helped contribute to that, Anthony, but I'll keep reading. That was never in the cards at the domestic box office. 39% of the audience, 39. This is a lower number than they would hope. It was between 18 and 34. Venom: Let There Be Carnage first weekend grab of that crowd was 64%, and that's the audience that Venom is going to play to. Right. Also, Bond audience always skews male, but I'm sure that's somewhere in this title. They talk about the previous films, but I'm going to skip down that paragraph because it's not helpful. No Time to Die can look forward to some more cash tomorrow, Monday, when the Northeast takes a holiday for Indigenous Peoples Day. In addition, Bond typically holds well in its subsequent weekends, and we hear there's an indication that even though there wasn't an overabundance of older adults, there were those older Bond fans who did come out to the theater for the first time in 2 years. Those over 45 repped 36% of the audience. Those are the people that they needed for this film. Those are the people they told you they needed for this film.
Ooh.
They weren't lying.
Culture... I feel like 36% is not good enough. If that's the audience, their key demographic, I don't know why they're trying to spin it as a good thing. I feel like that's a hurtful thing, because that just shows you that a lot of the older audience is kind of checked out, because a lot of them are more invested in Bond, whereas a lot of the younger individuals, I'm sure some will be like big Bond fans, but a lot of them are going to be a lot more casual, or maybe even discovering Bond, or just looking to pass the time, hang out to just get away from something. But a lot of the older demographic is the demographic for Bond film, because once again, I'm no fan of Skyfall or for most of the Daniel Craig. I can maybe have a few good arguments for Casino Royale, but most of the Daniel Craig films are not enjoyable. But I won't deny that Skyfall did great at the box office. It killed it. Granted, I know we're coming off this whole situation, but Venom is making Skyfall opening weekend numbers. If Venom can do that, there's no reason why James Bond can't.
But I just want to bring everybody's attention to this, right? Globally, the film's coming in at 145.5 million. Ian, in your country, when did this film come out?
It came out last week, before America.
This is the second weekend, right?
Yes. Okay.
So it's at 145 million globally after, would you say 11 days? I don't know how your previews work.
Yeah, 11 days, but that's not a very good number, though, considering how much it cost.
Right. So let's roll down to Venom real fast, right? Venom, by the end of Monday, on its 11 days, here domestically, because it hasn't released in any, at least not in very few international markets, will be 146.5.
But that just goes to show that people just want dumb entertainment now. They're tired of being taught, if so to speak, and they're tired of of stuff that they don't want to see. But we still have to win over the normies, though. All of us still have to win over the normies because they outnumber us a lot. That's why they're making this crap. So we really need to outnumber them. And this is the reason why this channel and other channels should continue doing what they're doing. The more people out there that knows that this is what's happening to entertainment, the better. Therefore, we can get better entertainment. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ian. So we can go on and do a comparison financially for Bond with other films. When Bond hits China, it's going to go gangbusters. When Venom gets to all the international markets, it's going to be in like Norway, Sweden, the UK, everywhere in Europe. When it gets released wide, I think it's going to push higher numbers than they are even prepared for.
It is. Look at what the first movie did. And I wasn't even a fan of that first movie, and that movie did big
the thing about Casino Royale is that it was made by a veteran James Bond director, Martin Campbell. So that's why it had one foot in the old Bond and it had one foot in the new Bond, and that balance was really good for the first Daniel Craig movie because they actually took him back to the beginning. You've got the James Bond theme. Well, you didn't have the James Bond theme in that, but the music was David Arnold, and David Arnold's music is really great for James Bond movies. Then they kicked him out and put some guy in there, and it didn't even sound like a Bond film. And the films that came after Casino Royale, as far as I was concerned, were not really Bond films. They were Born Identity, Stroke, different kind.
They weren't that interesting either.
Yeah,
no, they weren't.
No, Ian. So because just for fun and without spoilers, please, if you can. Spoiler warning to those of you out in the audience.
Spoiler warning, everyone.
If you care.
Any thoughts on the film? In as at least expletively,
Well, my okay, right, guys. It's not a bad film, right? But I'm really upset because of things that they did in it. Okay, and you can see that they put things in there because of current year. Like, I'll give you an example, right? So I can't remember her name. Shalana Lynch. What's her name? The black girl. Shalana Lynch, right?
Yes.
Her character, if you took her character out of the story, it would have made no difference to the story whatsoever.
Wow.
It wouldn't change. And you can tell. And I remember I was on Dan's channel, and Dan really likes Bond, and they were saying to me, well, she was there to put the passing of the time. And I said, well, okay, well, if that's the case, why isn't the replacement for Bond a man? Why is it a black woman? See, those are the questions that kept going through my head with this film. And there are other stuff in there, like the main villain, Saffron. He wasn't even featured that much. He was in 3 bits. It's like saying Stromberg in Spy Love Me is only in it for 5 minutes. That's what it's like. So he wasn't featured much.
Wow.
And some of the story didn't make any sense.
That's a waste, right? Because he's such a great actor.
Exactly. And they didn't even utilize him. And they just kept dragging the film on. It was far too long. It could have taken a scissors to it, and it probably would have been much better. But everybody knows the crime they committed in this film. And I will stop there because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. There you go.
Larry is bringing up the fact that Campbell did GoldenEye as well as this year's Protege, which is a great film. So get it. You should see that.
It is.
And this is a good question. Solus asks, I think, this is my opinion now. We're going to venture into my opinion, which is dangerous. Give Lashana a 006, a 009.
Yeah.
Give her something else. And you know what? Because but at the time of life, I mean, that character and that number, that designation, it is this person. They do retire 00s. It's happened. Ask Ian. It's not.
Yeah, they do. I mean, as I said, right, if you guys haven't seen the film, I would say go and see it if you're a Bond fan, but you will be very disappointed. You know what? I went with my mum, okay, and we went to this because my mum loves Bond films. She loves action films in general, right? My mum's in her 80s, man, and so the Selfridges, like a big store, it's like Macy's over I guess in the States is like Macy's. They opened their first cinema, Selfridges Cinema, so we went in there to see it. And after the film, I said to my mum, what do you think of the film? My mum said the seats were really nice. That was her review on this film. That's how much it basically, I remember when I took it to see GoldenEye and what is it? Tomorrow Never Dies.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
She was laughing all the way through it. She was, at the end, and she was, it was a great movie. That was fun. You know what I mean? But this film just makes you feel depressed. In fact, most of the Craig films make you feel depressed, don't they? They're
Yeah.
not fun or anything.
I want to bounce off your cons because
Hmm.
when you should be coming out of a Bond movie, if I'm not coming out of there, not doing the opening pose, walking out of theater, when the credits roll for the opening pose, if I'm not doing that pose, getting out of the theater, there's something horribly wrong. And when I didn't see Spectre in theater, I saw Skyfall in theater, and I saw Quantum of Solace and Casino Royale. Casino Royale, I enjoyed as far as Craig Bond is concerned, and I felt like Craig really, truly, and that was the closest he came to actually trying to be a James Bond.
Yeah.
There's some moments in there that you could debate on, but overall, he felt like he was trying to actually be James Bond, but everything else is just him going through the motions and being mopey, and like we don't want to see that. And
Well,
of
it's
course
all
they dumb
nihilistic.
down on the nihilistic.
Yeah.
Want to be rooted in reality because of the Bourne movies, that less gadgets. It's like I love Bourne for Jason Bourne. Let 007 be 007. Why do we need to have the two blend in? Let's have the two be their own unique entities. That's what makes each other great, is not trying to make them like each other. And I like Bond when he's outrageous, bombastic. He is the womanizer. He is the man with the gadgets. He's the guy.
Yeah.
The coolest
He's
guy.
not
When you walk in the
a,
room, you want to be that guy. You want to have that fancy drink. I feel none of that when I watch the Daniel Craig movies. And that's
Yeah.
nothing
Also
against
his
Daniel
character.
Craig. It's nothing against Daniel Craig. It's the writing.
And the thing is, Nick,
Hmm.
Bond is not, and I'm saying this to Kerry Fukunaga,
Yeah.
he is not the thing that you said he was.
Yes, he's not. He's not at all. He's none of those things. He's none of those things. Like, sure, he's shredded. That's great. But as far as other historically characteristic traits, he's lacking them. Like, for the most part, definitely more not than is. And it's just like, you don't identify with this Bond in the sense of how you recognize him. There's not a recognizability to this character. And
But is that due
huge.
to the acting or the writing? Because I
I'm
would
gonna say
say the writing.
writing.
Yeah,
Because I don't know what Daniel Craig. Maybe Daniel Craig has done other things that could be good. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. He seems like he's an all right guy. I've seen him speak in interviews. He seems like he's got his head put on straight for the most part. He doesn't seem like a crazy, wacko on Twitter. He seems more, level headed than most. So once again, I'm going to be fair to him, but I'm going to go with the writing for that because
Well,
I'm
this
sure if
one
you get him the
definitely
right
suffers from the
credentials, because it shows you can take a good actor, but if you have crappy writing, a good actor can only go so far.
Yeah.
Even a good actor has their limits.
It's something that I've said before, Nick, and it's something I've learned is that a lot of times with bad films, a lot of times when films kind of go that definitely kind of go jump the shark or just kind of really take a wrong turn, a lot of that you can't really blame it on, or especially with characters, you can't blame it on the actors because they're just what they were doing what they were given to them.
Yeah,
You
but
can't blame
Daniel
it on
Craig produced it though.
Right. That's why.
And he also, so he was also in charge of what happens in the film.
Right.
He's the producer. So
right, because all I was going to say is,
But is that a real producer or just a credit producer?
No,
I was
no,
gonna say, what's a producer in
Well,
2021?
No. Apparently, he was a real producer on this. In fact, he was the one that hired Fleabag girl to rewrite the script.
Okay.
So,
So a lot of the what I was going to say, a lot of the blame is Phoebe Waller-Bridge. By the way, a lot of the blame, I think, a lot of blame is a lot said on the writers, the people who write these scripts, and the people who are signing off on these scripts. So in that case, I think
they don't live in the real world.
Yeah.
So like they're stuck in this echo chamber in Hollywood, and they're surrounded by some of the worst people in the world, so they just think that's a norm. The Harvey Weinstein situation, that's not happening everywhere. That's like localized to Hollywood, where it just attracts these terrible people using each other. And so then they think, okay, we got to put a stop to this. Meanwhile, continuing the same cycles behind the scene, like nothing has changed there. They just want to like push that narrative onto the rest of the world.
Yeti, I think they know that to a degree, and if I'm wrong, someone is welcome to prove me wrong or tell me I'm wrong. I think they know that's not real. I think they're trying to will it into existence.
Well,
Yeah.
I agree.
The problem is they're barking up the wrong tree, and they have been for a long time, and it shows in the numbers because if you look at what things are supposed to do, they're supposed to increase over time, and you were watching ticket sales numbers, the raw numbers, right? The gross dollars go up, but we're watching the actual number of tickets sold go down.
Yeah.
So you have the inflationary prices that are affecting ticket costs, in addition to the additional production and everything else that to make it so the exhibitors can actually eke out a living. But at the same time, you have less people going to see movies. You had the perfect opportunity with the Disney trilogy of Star Wars films that it just was a complete failure, where you should have had an exponential increase in the growth of that, the revenues, and it just didn't materialize. And of course, look, Bond is supposed to be handsome, as the Islington girl here. He's supposed to be a handsome guy. He's supposed to be a womanizer. He's supposed to be the male version of a honeypot. That's the whole point of being a spy. It's called tradecraft. Tradecraft is really important, and we are lacking it in modern day spies. And so I guess they're just bringing that to the audiences and saying, yeah, we super suck at being spies now. Here's how bad we are. Here's the latest Bond. But that's my opinion. Now, will I see this film? Of course, because it's a Bond film. Will I give you my honest opinion on it? Yes, I can tell you based on everything that I had previously read, everything that I had heard, everything that was that somehow meshed very well with the things that were leaked has come true in this film, with the exception of the context that it was in. So I'm going to watch the film looking for the context and see where we land. And I think this is a funny idea, Ricky Gervais as Bond, although I would honestly think he'd be a better Q, as Apex Comics says here. Sean Bean was a great 00. He was a bad 00 in GoldenEye.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
006, I think it was, wasn't
really,
it?
really good. And
For
the
England,
thing is,
James? No, for myself.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, you can tell that people are dying for entertainment. One of the reasons is their stadiums are filling up globally with people. Soccer matches, baseball, football, college and pro here in the States.
Well, anime, if you want to stay with the visual medium, because that's exploding. Manga and anime is doing exceptional. Like, they're outselling the entire North American market, and the movie that came out.
Do you know
was
what,
set
guys?
records.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what, guys? When I went to see the film, right, and we're watching it and stuff like that, and I'm getting a bit depressed when I'm watching it. At the ending, right, when the credits were going up and stuff, you can just feel the atmosphere in the cinema. No one was talking.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then as I was leaving, somebody actually asked the question, why did that happen? And as we were leaving, unlike, when I saw, I guess, going right back to For Your Eyes Only, when, we're leaving the cinema, everybody's clapping and they're laughing and stuff, and they're coming out smiling because it's Roger Moore. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot of fun. So that's what I'm saying. That's the difference. And in this film, right, every James Bond film has a scene where a car smashed through the wall and he's in it, and then the James Bond theme plays out, and he's doing something great. None of that in this film. This film is so flat and depressing.
Ian, the character's been lost for 3 films.
Exactly my point. Daniel Craig should never have been cast as James Bond, as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know. I mean, there were other better. If I could change the position of the Bonds, I would have put Brosnan before Dalton, but I would have had Dalton. Because I honestly believe that Dalton would have had a longer run.
Yeah.
Because the last one was great. It was just really gritty. It was hyper violent for a lot of audience.
It was the 80s.
Yeah, Liger fan says something really brilliant. Spy film writers should be watching Archer for tips, or better yet, The Kingsman, which is a vastly superior spy franchise right now, and they are about to get their origin story film.
Ooh.
Matt Vaughn. If you're going to trust anybody right now, trust Matt Vaughn to make a really good film.
What about the Mission Impossible films? Are terrific as well, man.
Oh yeah,
really well.
They're fun. Like, they understand being fun, and we have lost that in so many movies. You just come out. it's not enjoyable. That experience is gone. And the ones that are just strictly fun movies, Godzilla versus Kong or Mortal Kombat, the Fast and the Furious, like, say what you will about them, but they focus on just being fun, and people go for that. It's not always the strongest writing, but it's enjoyable. The popcorn flick.
You can turn off your brain for an hour and a half to 2 hours, and that brings me back earlier to Venom Let There Be Carnage. You can have whatever opinion about it, neither here nor there, but it's turn off your brain, don't apply logic, give you literal escapism, like figurative,
and
but literal in the sense where you're not thinking about the world. You're just focused on the movie and the ridiculousness of it all. And no, it's not a bad thing, because we want to watch things to get away, to have some time to just enjoy something, not say, okay, I came to get away, and now here I am getting what I tried to get away from. I'm having it thrown right back at me in cinematic format. No, Venom gives you that escapism. So I saw it last week, and I could confirm and verify that, it was escapism. And Godzilla vs. Kong was the same thing. Apparently, nobody's that way as well. I still haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Nobody's good.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, and you should check, like you said. I mean, and this is the thing. Even with the elements in it that they were trying to point to, as politically driven, and in Venom, nobody got hung up on any of them because they were there to escape, and they were given more of an escapist, entertaining film than you've seen out of Disney's version of Marvel. Sony's version of Marvel is on pace to kick the complete crap out of Disney's version of Marvel for the next year. So, but let me get this super chat real quick, and I know that we've got some parties that are going to be exiting here shortly. Michael Hickson for $5. Thank you for that, Michael. Says current movies have assassins, not much in spies or sleuthing. Even John Wick, who's great, he's just a hyper-action assassin with character, and I agree with that 100%. I don't know if you could argue. I don't think anybody could argue with that, right?
Yeah.
Well, a movie can only be as smart as the writers as well. And like when you have problems like, say, Sherlock Holmes movies and stuff, like you have to be able to be as smart as you want your main characters to be. And when it comes to
or at least be able to fake it.
Well, right. And when it comes to spy stuff, it's like you have to be smart. You can't just be like, oh, sure. And then like they do a shooty thingy and there's a laser gun. It's like, no, there's more nuance to it.
Yes,
and
way more nuance.
At the end of the day, that on top of the fact that people don't understand what characters are anymore, in the sense that a character is a being with personality and traits and everything that's established. They are an entity and
vulnerable.
And they aren't perfect, and you can have a jerk who is a character, and it's completely fine to. And I think that's something that they need to realize.
One of the main issues there is they've taken immutable characteristics and made that personality. Like they've completely conflated the issue, and now if you're black or gay, then you have this set personality, but that's not how it works.
Right.
Like you've got all these different things that you could be, and you could just be a part of those groups and have your own personality behind that, but they don't do that.
They make Q gay though.
Well,
there you go.
Beyond that, I care very deeply about this person here. His name's Wes Moody, the Wes Moody Webcast. Wes,
well, I've got to get going. I've got to, work and try and make money and stuff. So, it happens. But I do thank you for having me on, Culture. And Nickwieser, always a pleasure. YetiCast, AFK Bard, Ian, Machiny. Make sure that you're subscribed to all these amazing folks. I talk about current events, pop culture, occasional conspiracy theories, occasional car talk, gaming streams, and I vlog about whatever the heck I want to because it is my webcast. At some point, we're going to be doing, I'm going to react to the Star Trek Discovery Season 4 trailer. God help me. Pray for me. People.
Oh, my God.
So I already gave it a glance, and I'm like, So speaking of wooden characters with immutables, hey. Anyways, hope to see you there. Thank you, my friends.
Thanks, Wes. Have a great one.
Wes. See you soon.
See you later,
Bye.
Wes.
See ya.
Did anyone else catch the picture of the Ferengi?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
man. Look,
I know this wasn't a set topic, but when I saw them, like, what are they thinking, man? This is garbage.
I think he has to be 25% different, doesn't he, to the original?
Are we gonna lose you too?
Yep, my turn. Yep, it's my turn to go ahead and step away, guys. Thank you guys so much for stopping by.
No worries.
Here. Thank you guys so much for 700. I appreciate that for last night. But anyway, today we're going to reveal the final character of the round 2 sticker set. So once we're finished with this, then I can start producing stickers. I'm going to be putting the link to the stream in the chat below. Join me, Mads, Mama Bear, Bruce Lombardo, Rosetta Allen, and M. Dashley. We're going to have some fun on your Sunday afternoon if you guys got nowhere else to go. So anyway, we'll see you guys there. And by the way, we will do the celebration, 700 celebration giveaway next Sunday. So today is going to be more chill stream. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys.
See you later.
Bye. Take care, Makani. See you next time.
Do good. Guys, do check out both Wes Moody's channel and Makani's stream, which is going to be starting right after we finish here. So it's a good time. Great creators, lots of talented artists of every stripe, and just great conversation. You will enjoy yourself over there. I like to promote everybody because independent creators are what matters nowadays. This is a good point from James Villanueva. When you start filming these modern woke films, hoping the target audience you want magically materializes into existence, Hollywood will always fail.
They will. And, another thing I should actually warn you guys about the Bond film is in the gun barrel sequence, they take the blood out.
Huh.
What?
So,
I gotta ask you something about No Time to Die. I had a friend of mine, and this is gonna be a spoiler for those in chat. Not that many of you care, but just in case you somehow do, you might want to turn off your earmuffs. Is it true that there are scenes where it looks like they're doing social distancing?
No, not as far as I can tell.
I heard that there are scenes where it looked like they were doing it, and I'm like, I had to get more confirmation for that. But
if that's the case, and I'm going to say this while I leave Ian highlighted. If that's the case, then it confirms all of the reshoots that were shot around this film.
Well, Gary said in his stream that he thinks they took that time to reshoot all the woke stuff that they had in it. And the rabbi says that he believes that at the ending of the film, the gun barrel thing was going to come up and it was going to be the black 007 that walks in and shoots. That's what he believes. Rumor. I know that's a rumor, and I don't think that's true somehow. But I'll tell you one thing. There is one Bond girl in there that I just fell in love with. When I saw the trailer, I thought, girl kicking with high heels, that's a bit crap, isn't it? But when you see the film, you welcome it because how bad the rest of it is. And when you see the film and you see that scene, you're like, whoa, that girl, I want that girl as a present to me.
I heard she was like so one of the best things, but is only in it for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. That's it. Yeah.
So one of the best things. One of the best things and just get rid of it.
Yeah. There you go. And nobody can tell me that this film has not been current yearish. It is. I don't care what anyone says. I've been on loads of streams where people are going, "Oh, Ian, you're looking too deep. You're bumping into shadows and blah blah." It's rubbish. Look at it carefully.
Well, they announced it. They announced it multiple times. That was going to be current yearish.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not. But the film is not woke. I must say that. I must confirm it's not woke.
Isn't that where this entire reshoot came from? Because there was reports that when they showed the movie in the screenings, people despised it, and they took this opportunity for a shutdown in order to get rid of a bunch of those things, and then they just they blamed it on a shutdown to cover their asses, so it didn't look like they screwed up the movie.
That may be the case, but I tell you one thing: the script, as far as I was concerned, the script is really bad. There was things in it that I just thought, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Why is that happening? It's not a very good script. You know what? People are too busy looking at the fireworks instead of seeing what's on the ground. That's the problem with this film. It's like the Star Wars movies. You've got all the special effects. You've got horses running on ships and all that rubbish. And the normies are going, wow, that's a great special effect. But they're not looking at the story, how bad the story is. It's the same thing with this film here. Everything's done to a point where everything looks beautiful. Photography is great. The action is good. But when you look closely, the film just doesn't work. And obviously, there's that one thing that happens in it that really did pee me off. But I just say the film doesn't work. If you look closely, it really doesn't work, and that is the main problem in this film. It is not a Bond movie, as far as I'm concerned.
No,
yeah,
there you go. And that's some of the problem. And Taz Mounta says something that's I think is brilliant. Never thought the older I get, the less and less the draw of seeing movies. And I'm going to add would become. I'm going to add a little paraphrase.
It'll bounce back at some point. It's just a question of how long. If it's 10 years, because they can't keep doing it. They don't have endless supplies of money to keep pushing the same thing over.
Culture's right, they do, Yeti, and where that money's coming from somewhere. Obviously, they got bailed out last year, and I think the question is how many more times can they continue to get bailed out before they realize this is not going to work?
Oh, okay, then the counterpoint to that, eventually someone else is going to step up because they're going to see there's this entire contingent of people that are done with the current movies, and then they're just going to rake in cash.
I'd like to make it clear, right? And I'm only going to speak for myself, that I have no problem with the LGBTQ community. I have no problem with, anything like that and strong women and all that stuff. I embrace all that stuff, but please do not come to our little part of the world whether it's Bond or Star Wars, whatever, and start destroying what we love. That's what I object to. As I said,
there's also an issue with what they call strong women, because there were strong women back in the 80s, early 90s. Ripley, that character stood on their own. Sarah Connor, amazingly written. But today, in order to have the strong women, you've got to have, the shaved side of the head. You've got to be, kind of a bitch to everyone around you. And it's a one-note thing.
Yeah, and you're right. Those characters existed, Yeti, and even in comedy films like Romancing the Stone. That's a rom-com. Even you had Ripley, obviously, Aliens. You had a lot of very strong female characters that held their own. That not only that carried stories. Silence of the Lambs, right? Powerful, talented female actress. Jodie was brilliant in that. You have when you start to pretend that there were no, powerful females in Hollywood, you have strayed far afield, and that's all they've been doing, right? I mean, in look, Hollywood is a cesspool, of humanity. Now, I'm not saying everybody there is. I'm saying that the people that seem to be in power were for a very long time the very people that they would try to hold up around them as bottom feeders. They themselves were the bottom feeders at the time. People who would take advantage of innocence, of any opportunity to exploit someone else. It continually happened in that industry. It does to this very day.
But why can't they, Casino? Why can't they make films for that community, though? I don't understand. This community, right, wants to be known and wants to push themselves in society. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah. But why are they not making films for that community?
Well, they want to take what's already profitable and say, okay, well, these franchises have recognizing brand. So they're going to take those brands, those franchises that already have recognition, and just throw that into the mix rather than start something that could be made for them, create from the ground up, and develop a genuine following on its own 2 feet. They see it as, well, we need that guaranteed money because they see as we can only make things that have big budgets. And it's not because of the Marvel movies. It's because of the response to the Marvel movies. They saw, this company got all the cinematic universe money. We need to have billion-dollar flicks or nothing else less than that as a success. Their response to that was tedious, and now they're paying for it in so many ways. Once again, Marvel at least started off on the right foot, building off their universe. Right. How it went, obviously, versus how it's going now are two different stories, but they at least at one point in time had a plan, and Hollywood decided what they want to do, either franchises, sequels, remakes, big giant universes, and a lot of these things are backfiring. They only see everything as long-term thing. They don't want anything to stand on its own 2 feet or have something that's brand new that should.
And they're corrupting franchises that have stood the test of time.
Yes.
That's beyond that. Let me get this super chat super quick. Terminus asks for $5. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you, Terminus. Says Nickwieser flavor number 007. now with special dark chocolate fudge estrogen filling.
Like I agree with you, Nickwieser, but I think you missed the first part because when they tried to make those movies, nobody goes to see them. So they had to take over other franchises in order to put it in.
Here's the thing, though. People have been saying it. Look at The Force Awakens. Eventually, we all rejected it, but that first weekend number alone brought in the money.
Yeah, but hold on, guys. Right, you need to. That community needs to find someone that's talented to write something for that community. I'll give you an example, right? What was that film? I know the director's dead now. He made Boys. Is it Boys? It had Club and Junior in it. He was in it. He was very young, and it won, and it got praised. It was one of those very first black movies that showed what Boys in the Hood or something like that it was called.
Great
and
movie.
It won. I think it won. Did it win an Oscar and stuff like that? So what I'm saying is that you've got to find a talented person within that group to do something, to make something, and stand on its own. And then then these people could be proud of what they. That's what it needs. We need talent.
People.
But they made
they set all these standards.
But they
you have. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Yeti. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. They've set these different standards. Like you have to be a certain person in order to do or act as a character. You have to be the same thing. You can't just be an actor doing it or a director doing that movie. Like they canceled what was her name? Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson. They canceled her movie, because she wasn't actually a trans character. So they're shooting themselves in their own foot because they're requiring everyone in order to fit the mold before they're allowed to do a movie about these subjects.
But that's what I'm saying, right? I think all the people that are infiltrating the stuff that we like, then they don't really have any talent. What we need is someone with talent within that group to make something about that group, if needs be. And that's when you'll start making films for the community and films that they could be proud of. Because I know almost hundreds of gay people who are my friends, and they say the same thing. They say the same thing. They're like they can't stand what they're doing, and
it's giving them a bad name.
But here's the weird thing. You had a decade and a half, maybe almost 2 decades of incredible television and film that brought those stories to the forefront. You had series on Showtime, I think, at the time called Queer as Folk, or maybe that was HBO.
Yes. Channel 4.
You had great things. Netflix, the first season of Sense8 was an intriguing thing full of lots of actual diversity. In fact, the actor person Jamie, I forget her last name, that's going to be the new Pinhead, right? She was in Sense8, right? Here's the question now: if she is going to be the new Hell Priest, Cenobite, right? Is she? And this is a question that Tom, it came up with too. How is she going to be portrayed in the film? Because as a trans person, right? Is she now going to play that as a trans person, or is she playing it as a woman? How is that going to be played? See, this is the problem when you start to lay this framework of only these people can play these characters. Okay, well, I don't know where you're going to get a Tarkin Shark from. Okay, I don't know. And nobody is one of these, blue avatar people. I don't know how James Cameron casted that film.
Yeah.
So we're running into these issues, right? Where none of this stuff lines up with what you're actually trying to do, and it ends up being a bunch of nonsense that everybody can poke holes in. So,
but they need to they need to have power. Like, for instance, if I was in charge of a network and I had to introduce diversity, what I would do is I would try and find the most talented director, producer person and put him in charge of making films about black people, or whatever the thing is.
Okay, but
because the problem is you have the rich white people that are actually still in charge, and yet they claim diversity. If they wanted real diversity, they would step down and let someone of color take over. Do you know what I mean?
And actually, they've been being forced to be stepped down in some positions here in this company.
Yeah,
okay, let's do this. And I do not want to get into a Doctor Who conversation, right?
No, do I.
Wait, calm down. Russell T Davies, right?
Yeah,
he's gay.
Yes.
So, it's not like these people don't exist. These great creators that can write incredible stuff. And he did a really great job with Doctor Who before. And you know what you didn't get in it? Anything that was.
Well, you had Captain Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's like, okay, so this makes sense. This character makes sense, right? What you didn't do is what they did with Chibnall, right?
Yes.
But you have these creators that are capable of doing this and working these characters organic. This is the word that they hate. Organically into the story. You can tell great stories. You can have them even wrap around any of these immutables, any of these checkboxes.
But you're getting to my point, Casino, because that's what I'm saying. Because like, if you take Russell T's a very talented writer.
He's great.
And so he wrote about things like, Queer as Folk. He wrote about things that was part of his life. And it came across as true and real because he lived it, right? And that's what I'm saying. You've got to, if the community wants films to represent them, they have to get a talented person within that group to make stuff. That's all I'm saying. Makes sense, right? Instead of pigeonholing stories and people into established works.
Look, and I'm gonna. Well, here's the weird. Let me read this super chat, and I'll dive into what I was going to say. Okay. Terminus asks for $5. Says rumor has it that a certain Japanese filmmaker has cast Drew as the lead actor in his latest kaiju movie, Godzilla versus Dong. Beware the Drew. Thank you for that. Terminus says brilliant. You get the laugh track. Okay, so. With that being said, and every once in a while we need humor. It's one of the reasons why you guys are the best chat on YouTube, is to interject some levity in situations that maybe don't have it. But right now, Disney, for over a year, according to people that would know, didn't allow outside pitches. Everything was internal.
Wow.
Well, I don't know what to say.
By rumor, they're not the only ones that were doing it. So that tells you that they kept all the garbage that they were throwing out there in their building. So and this is the true statement. Other people have talked about it here in the chat, but Disney is 40% of the box office revenue because they own the most stuff. They are, they're enormous. They're an incredibly diversified company. Some of the areas they participate in would qualify them by professional analysts' summations as monopolies in certain sectors. They do have monopolistic practices. They are skating a very thin line, and they have been for a while. But 40% of an industry control where there's only 40% in one company seems a little.
Isn't that against the law?
Problem. Well, the problem is that nobody's thwarted it along the way, and we really have needed to. And it leads into bad labor practices, which gets into the other thing that I want to talk about. And this is why I'm so grateful Ian is here. And everybody's tired of hearing about this, but this is a legitimate thing. The 5th day of Do or Die IATSE contract talks wrap. They're going to resume Monday. They started Tuesday. They went through Saturday. They still don't have a deal. The strike is looming. We've had a writer's strike here in the United States before. It wasn't the best time in the world for entertainment. They absolutely don't need another strike here. They haven't had a strike with IATSE at any local since, well, for over 15 years, I think. Yeah, 15 years since the last writer's strike. So here we are, right? So they're both of them come out saying it's a matter of days, not weeks. That's what Matt Loeb said on Friday, and that they've been bargaining for a long time. But they are in the position of power because over 98% of the folks in this industry have elected to go on strike if they can't resolve this. And all they're asking for is a 54-hour weekend, proper breaks, and proper pay, especially when it comes to the streaming services. Now, Ian, you work in production. You are a filmmaker.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Have you paid attention to this at all? I know it's not the UK union, but I was just curious.
And I know it's happening, but in England, the unions don't really have any power. In America, they have extreme power. They can stop a production. But in England, because I guess I work in the independent sector, I've never, ever well, I have a few times worked for the TV industry and the film industry a few times, but I've never been a permanent fixture for reasons I don't want to go into. But we really don't have any power when it comes to the unions and stuff like that. If you want to go and make an independent film, they can't stop you. In America, they tried to stop Robert Rodriguez, didn't he, when he was trying to make Dusk Till Dawn, didn't they? Because he was, I don't know what he did. But I find it really interesting that you can't even resolve your differences before you go and strike. And I don't know. The Americans are so powerful when it comes to movies and stuff like that. They could stop something. But as I said, in England, it doesn't really cut the mustard, tell you the truth. But, those are my thoughts on it. Not much, but...
Everybody say hi to Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Hey.
I haven't heard anything from AFK for a while.
No.
We've been talking a lot.
I'm still here.
Yeah, she's too busy looking at her Flash pictures and
all right,
Spider-Man pictures.
Not a bad thing.
Come on, Finn, pitch in.
Flash.
She's into Flash. Well, the actor.
Flash film is going to be weird.
I know it's going to be crap.
I'm going to just say that. I'm not going to elaborate at all. It's going to be weird.
In it.
Do you know what? Right, it's a lot to be said. If the only reason I want to see Flash is to see Batman.
It's a how is Ezra Miller still going with everything that's been shown about him? Like, you throat slam a pregnant woman on the ground, and he's not fired.
Yeah,
well, I don't know. Anybody else would be fired. Guys, we need like 13 more likes. 100 likes actually does get me a bump in the YouTube viewership. So if we can get there, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, he's at 90 right now, so you're getting there, Culture.
Yeah, and here's the cool thing. And James, I agree with you. I actually think Jamie's going to do a good job in this role. I really do. That's because Jamie's a good actor. There's no doubt about it. This is the problem: is everybody makes assumptions about what people have a problem with, because it's none of the stuff that you're thinking it is that inspires people to call you a bigot or something else. It's what did you do to the character? If it's something that pre-exists, if we know. I mean, whether it be the literature or the films themselves, we know there are other Cenobites, right? You just have a new Hell Priest. Okay, I get it. It's fine. It's just
the original was female.
Right, there you go.
In the novels. So that was the original basis, but it was changed way back when. So this is a return.
Yeah.
Now, is that a return because of the novel or because of the current cultural climate? And like that will determine how this movie comes out and gets made.
Yeah.
Like there's a big difference.
Yeah, and again, lasso of truth. I really don't like unions at all. The unions have their place. I'm not a huge fan, but they have their place, and they make it so that people who are in bad positions, especially groups of workers who their working conditions are just terrible, it allows them to have some power and to collectively bargain. Well, collectivism is bad usually, but when you are being exploited, it kind of helps to be able to group together and essentially everybody holds each other accountable and be in a position where you can just say, yeah, well, we're just going to stop working and you'll be.
But it also, Casino, it's dangerous as well, because if somebody works X amount of hours and then they have to drive the equipment to the next location the night before and they're tired and they can't see, that could cause an accident.
There have been multiple accidents attributed to that very thing, Ian, here in the United States. There have been there was a fatal accident attributed to that, as a matter of fact, and one that left the other party substantially disabled. You have on-site accidents on on filming sites when you're shooting on location. Sometimes accidents happen on those, and you could probably point towards the fact that they just worked 19 hours, got 3 hours sleep, and we're back on the location to keep going. They had one meal break that entire day during those 19 hours. That's crap. And that's the kind of stuff they're living with. And one of the things they're asking for is a 54-hour weekend. A 54-hour weekend. So they want the 2 days, 48 hours, and a little in the morning and a little at a little at night, on the Friday. So they actually have a break, even if it's not actually Monday to Friday thing, even if it's different.
That makes sense when it comes to huge productions, because huge production TV, especially TV, they push their crew and cast very, very hard. I remember, I don't know if you know the show called The Mentalist. The guy that played Patrick Jane, he was saying that he some nights he'd have 3 hours sleep and he's back on set. You know what I mean? And that's pretty dangerous. I mean, yeah, they did it, and they didn't complain. But it's dangerous, though, isn't it? Let's face it.
Well, and it's not the most healthy, right? If you're being asked to do that because you need to do you have to do a day shoot going into night, like in the afternoon shoot, and then you have to be first thing in the morning. Sometimes it makes sense, but you actually need to give people proper care.
But some people, right, accept it. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know the history of Back to the Future. When Michael J. Fox was on it, he was half asleep making that film. So.
He would leave Family Ties and catch a nap and then do, his McFly stuff, which that production, if you know the history of it, probably the best people to tell you about it. So, Tom and the people over at Midnight's Edge. The fact that was what was happening because the Eric Stoltz, nobody was dug that. Nobody dug Eric Stoltz as a character. I think that's really, really interesting. I'd love to see the entire Eric Stoltz version of it because he played seriously, not as a comedy. Yeah, go ahead, Yeti.
Oh, he was almost killed in the third one in that noose scene.
Oh, yes, he got hanged, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a malfunction in that the fake hanging contraption. So when you see what is on screen, he was actually hanging, and everybody thought he was just acting really well. But no. He was fighting for his life, and that's what you see in the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
But I need to get this super chat because it's going to disappear, and it's $10. Thank you. Toxic Man Flu of Dick's Division. I appreciate the $10. Nickwieser, flavor number 31. Drew's Kaiju Dong Salad Dressing. When you are tossing your salad, reach for the massive flavor of Drew's Dong for the money shot on your
Okay, what is bigger, Drew's Dong or Disney?
I reckon Disney.
That's close.
I mean, Drew is pretty hung. So for
going back to the business casino, isn't it against the law what Disney's doing? Isn't it?
Well, a lot of it depends. See, this is the problem. First of all, somebody has to take you to court, or you have to have an investigative body or a body of authority recognize that these practices are in place, right? And this has been big tech's been doing a really, doing the two-step right now with the federal government trying to avoid getting broken up, including our good friends here for Google, obviously YouTube, but also other entities. I mean, Facebook is been navigating theirs. The media has largely been able to avoid this and somehow gain approval for some of these mergers that are really acquisitions that are troubling, right? One of the worst decisions I think made, not only by National Amusements, which is Shari Redstone's company, was to re-merge Viacom and CBS. I think if you left them as two separate entities with proper management structures, they would have been in much better place than they are now. Because I can guarantee you right now, something's happening over there right now with Paramount, and you're going to see IP sale, you're going to see pieces sold. Something's going to happen over there.
Because isn't there supposed to be a massive change in the structure? Like they're getting rid of a bunch of like managers and higher ups. Like there's something really big.
They lost two key players at the top. Yes, you're right, YetiCast, 100%. They lost. I forget his name. It's a Greek name, Giannopoulos.
And isn't that going to trigger like more down the line?
Oh well, yeah. I mean, they put a guy that was really streaming oriented into that top position. There's rumors that one of the people that they just brought in is already looking for a way out. So this is something that's going to happen. Thank you, Mark Santos, and all of you that got us to 100 likes. I appreciate your support, guys.
Great stuff.
You are the best. And that will help. I've got 106 now at this very moment, so thank you for that. That will help later in the day. People will be able to find this easier. It'll make it to recommended content, and I appreciate that support, guys. You have no idea. So, look, Hollywood has always been Hollywood. You've always had people, bye, Nikki Fam. You've always had people in Hollywood take advantage of their talent or any of the people that are on their set. This is not a new territory, and it's going to continue to happen. I mean, exploiting the assets that you have, in this case, it's human assets, that's part of running a business and in this case, running a film title. But at the same time, there has to be a balance. And some of the things that have happened on sets, like we were describing the Michael J. Fox incident and things like that, happened because people aren't properly rested or are not being properly fed. I mean, there's a lot of problems that have happened. I mean, think about it could be that we heard about the injury that paralyzed the stand-up comedian that was also a production assistant when a camera lift platform came down on her and broke her neck up in Canada for Batwoman, right? That was during a Batwoman show.
Oh yeah.
And that was, again, who knows? Maybe that was attributable to that kind of situation. Would it surprise me? No.
But the Ruby Rose, that's one of the reasons why she left, according to some reports.
Yeah, she got a back injury too.
So they had a bunch of stunt injuries because they were hiring based on diversity quotas rather than a stunt person that had experience. So you had these very inexperienced stunt people that shouldn't be there. Now, that's not to say they wouldn't be able to get there at a certain point, but it ended up causing so many injuries on set just because they wanted to have that quota and be able to, preach that to everyone. They did this and this, but it caused massive issues when it was coming to the stunts because they just weren't qualified. They could have had someone that was.
Yeah. We've got a couple more super chats right in line with the things we're talking about. Philip A. Demick, thank you for the $5, my friend, says New Line helped build the New Zealand movie industry 100% with Lord of the Rings. Warner Brothers with The Hobbit made New Zealand change laws to stop unions.
Oh,
wonder why.
Yeah.
Why? And look, like I said, unions are good and unions are bad. I don't think public sector unions should exist. I think that anybody who works in government, they should not be in a union. It is what it is. Comrade Roof Korean, the base says for $5. Thank you, my friend. Infrastructure bill includes diversity board requirements. That's not infrastructure.
But the problem with unions is that it once unions get strong in each country, it becomes an exclusive club. So if the union was really strong in the UK, we wouldn't be able to make independent films. We wouldn't be able to make web series because the unions would close you down because you're not abiding by the rules.
We don't have that problem here in the States. Yeah, because there again, it all comes back to who's making the film. But anyway, I'll finish this up. Say, how will that affect Hollywood and production companies and unions, etc.? Forced commerce. That they're going to be in court, dude. So much of what's going in there is going to end up in court and lose. It's not even funny. And this is the truth. Michael Hickson says both of the Lees died from onset accidents so far as I knew. Like father, like son. Yeah, dude, the accident on the Crow broke my heart.
Broke
my heart. Yeah. He was up and coming. Do you realize how many amazing things we would have got out of him? Oh my gosh.
It's really funny how people still don't know that blanks are still dangerous.
They are very dangerous.
Yeah. And people don't know that. Still to this day don't know that. They think they can just put the blank gun to their head with the blank bullet and pull the trigger. They'll die if they do that, So anyway, whatever.
No, for that story, didn't somebody screw up and put up a real bullet, not just a bullet?
I don't know. I think it was one. Is that true, or was it one of the explosion came out and some shrapnel went into
something frangible is what killed them from the link. It described the on-site accident. But I mean, all this stuff really bothers me. But I do know this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. And here's the thing. I really don't want to do this. We got to wind down because we've got to get some folks over to Makani's stream. We've got to push some folks to some other great content creators. You guys, I really appreciate all the support. There's 70 of you here. You guys really rocked the box the whole day. I really appreciate it. We got to 2 of the 6 things we talked about today.
32 of them are just Nickwieser.
Yeah, we had 30 other things that were Nickwieser things. I want to say thank you for all the financial support, for your super chats, for all the people in chats, every chat out there. It doesn't matter super or not. You guys really bring it to the table here on the channel every single Sunday, and I appreciate you. We are going to do this bigger and better every single Sunday. We will start bringing in more guests. We will have special appearances from folks. We will try to bring in an expert from time to time who is very smart. He's very funny. He's very handsome. And he's in the UK, so he has the proper accent for you ladies.
It's all a lie.
Yeah, it's not true. It's not true. And beyond that, I just want to say this. I thank you all for your huge support of Sporking last night with Gary's stream, and for growing Machiny and Sporking's channel last night. You guys were stellar, so thank you. On that note, I want to have everybody do their outros because we need to wind it down. One of my favorite humans in the world, AFK Bard.
Hello. I'm here, and I don't really have anything to pitch. I'm going to be repetitive and just say, like, everybody here, and in fact, just check out everybody in the chat too, because I think a lot of them have YouTube pages and Twitter accounts as well. And it's always fun to hang out here, even if, we're having to dredge through some of the most painful topics as far as, our love being torn apart. But as far as everything goes, I had a feeling that, I know that we don't know for sure, but my feeling is that they had gone back and in the reshoots basically changed some scenes to make it less painful. But overall, I've never watched Bond past Casino Royale. No, I take it back. There was one right after that I didn't like. It was too depressing. So anyways, above all, we need writers. I think that's what we got out of all this. Good writers. Good writers who know stuff. So go support your writers too while we're at it. Storyman Jack.
I'm working on something.
Yeah. All right. Sorry for the rambling, but gotta love the writers.
You do. Yeah, and that's good. That's solid. That's solid statement. I'm going to do this real quick because Roof Korean dropped another $5 to say this, and there were a lot of people putting this kind of thing in the chat. So thank you for this. Roof Korean for $5 says Brandon Lee died from a firearm in a real pawn shop, used a real round for the movie. Last round wasn't fired properly, blank used after. Jeez. So that means that essentially if frangible material fired because of a discharge of a blank. That makes sense. There you go. God, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's tragic.
It was such a terrible thing. It really was. Yeah, I would love to be able to do this, James Villanueva, but I have to work and also sleep. So somewhere in there.
And there's still a YouTube requirement that he's on every stream possible on YouTube. So
yeah, well, no, my deal is a little more forgiving than Tom's. Tom has to be on at least 3 streams simultaneously. I don't think I'm talented enough to do that. So I we'll see what happens in the next deal. But
that's not true.
Here we are. We have our special guest. I'm so glad he could join us. The Mega Geek, who, gosh, please promote your stuff, dude, please.
Well, I have a channel called the Rebecca Gold Channel, which is a web series. So check that out. You just type in Rebecca Gold in the in YouTube, and you'll be able to find. It's very easy to find. And I also have a Twitter account, the Mega Geek at Ian David Diaz. You can talk to me there if you want. I have films on my channel. You can watch that too, which is quite good. And people keep reminding me, I have to say, I'm an award-winning director, and that is true. And also, before I go, I like to say that I'm going to be on AFK Bard's channel soon, and we're going to be reviewing a film soon. Because she doesn't know it yet, but we will be doing that soon. Cheers! Thank you very much.
I'm grateful. You guys together are incredible, and I missed being able to either catch you live or catch you later together recorded. It was brilliant. So one of our other special guests today is a man. Well, kind of. He's furry and he's funny. What a Yeti cast. Yeti, tell him what you got going on.
Well, I'm working hard to finish up that trailer. And I really, really think it's going to be something special. So make sure you're still subscribed, and check it daily, because I know I haven't been putting up videos quite as frequently as I would like, and I'm kind of worried YouTube's not going to push it. So make sure that you don't miss out one, because it's going to be good.
I agree. I think it's going to be huge. Everything I have seen so far is brilliant. I'm excited. And last but not least, the other amazing special guest that I brought on today took time off to be here. One of my buddies over on the Dix Division at Comics Division's channel, our friend 32 Flavors of Nickwieser.
Well, Culture Casino, I will say it was absolutely worth taking time and changing life schedules to be on here, because I forgot how much I enjoy talking numbers and the whole business of movies and comics and the whole economics around it. I had a blast talking about it. So thank you for letting me come on here and work with me. And the chat has been awesome. And this panel has been great as well. Anyways, I got a channel, Miss Tina Bojan, posted right there. This week, Toxic Tuesday, will be talking Lone Wolf McQuaid from Chuck Norris's movie. That's going to be great. Mad Mardigan, George Molo, and a few others will be joining me. That's going to be awesome. And, of course, I put out a Carcass album review. Check that out if you're into the music. I got a bunch of cool shorts coming off of pizza videos and more action figures to show off. So that will be most definitely excellent. Come give me a look. I'm getting close to 600, by the way, just to play the numbers right there. Ooh. Come check it out, and we're gonna keep it fun. We're gonna keep it real, and I cannot wait to hopefully come back here someday on Sunday Culture Review, because this has been so much fun.
You're more than welcome, my friend. And we are going to wrap up almost exactly on time, so I'm going to do this the right way. Thank you. I'm going to throw George in there because somebody said George, so you get the George real quick. I'm going to say this. Be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands because it's good hygiene. Support independent creators of all types. And until next time, bye.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, Canadians.